Hello, in this presentation we will be taking a look at an accounts payable graph within QuickBooks Pro 2018. If you've been following along, we will be continuing with the Get Great Guitars problem. If you have the backup file, you can restore it from the File tab and Restore. We currently have Open Windows open, found at the View tab drop-down and Open Windows list. We have the home page open, which is found at the company and home page. What we're going to do now is look at a report, a type of report, that type being a graph, still in the reports section, however. Therefore, we're going to go to the reports drop-down, and we're going to take a look at that report center, and we want to be I'm in the grid format so we can easily see the graph that when we find it. And we are in the standard view. We're looking for a payable graph, and therefore we're dealing with vendors, people that we owe money to. Vendors and payables is what we will then select for this graph. Scrolling down until we find a graph, and there it is. There's the accounts payable graph. Beautiful looking graph. We're going to go ahead and run that report for a nice pictorial view of what's going on. And what happens? There's no data. Why isn't there any data? Because we need to change the dates. So anytime something looks funny, probably a date issue, we probably need to change the dates. But before doing so, we're going to go and maximize this screen by maximizing this screen here. Then go back over here to the dates area, selecting the dates area. Now the accounts payable is a balance sheet account, and therefore as of a point in time, only needing then one date rather than a date range, rather than a beginning and ending date. We'll select first the date of 02/28/21, February 28th, 2021, and say OK. And we get a very boring graph here saying that between 1 and 30 days, and that's because we're pretty current in paying our bills. We're fairly proud of that, although it is pretty early in our business. So we only have this, we don't have too many vendors, in other words, that we owe money to at this point. Only the Epiphone, which of course is our major vendor, and we owe them $1,200. If we want to make this look a little bit more interesting, we'll choose a different date. So we're going to go back up here to the dates, and we're going to choose the date of 02/15/21. Hopefully it's just a little bit more interesting of a graph. So we'll choose February 15th, 2021. And we just get a little bit more color here because now we owe Epiphone and we owe Fender. Now that total then is going to be $1,368. That should tie out to our balance sheet account for accounts payable. If we want to check that out, which we do, we're going to go to the reports drop down up top and scroll down to company and financial, and then scroll down once again all the way down to that balance sheet standard, our standard form. And we will change the date to, remember we changed the date, so it's 02/15/21. Gotta have the dates right. If it's wrong, it's probably a date issue. It's probably not QuickBooks' fault. It's probably our date fault of not entering the correct date. Probably my date fault. So we're going to say accounts payable, and that's going to be 1368, and that is the amount on our graph. Important to note that, because if we're talking this, if we have a nice colorful graph in our presentation, we should be able to, if asked, and possibly if not asked even, to explain what the graph is doing other than to be a nice colorful thing within our presentation. It does tie out to information on the financial statements. If we were to select one of these items here, we can oftentimes drill down on the information. In this, that giving us a breakdown of Epiphone aging report. So how much we owe Epiphone in terms of an aging report. Everything's current as of the 15th, so we're good. Everything is great. But that's a nice little feature there. We're going to close this out, give us some quick graphical information that we can take, we can put into our presentations. To put them into our presentations, note we don't have an export to Excel as we have seen in the past. In our options, we have very few options up here. We've got the date, we've got the print, cannot print as a PDF, but we can print to a PDF printer. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to print here, and I'm going to find the PDF printer. Now, if you don't have one, I do recommend downloading something such as the Qt PDF printer or something, so that in this program and any other program you have this option. So I'm going to go ahead and select that printer. We will print it there. And then I'm just going to rename it. I'm just going to call it AP Graph and save it. And then if we were to open the AP Graph, as I will here, we got a PDF file of it. So that's just one way we can take the information down. If we wanted to make a nice presentation within a PowerPoint or something, we can just copy and paste that. And so here's a PowerPoint presentation. If I have a new slide, all we need to do is go to Insert, and we can go to this nice screenshot item here and just print the screen. And there we have it. And so if I was to print the whole thing, if I printed the whole thing like this and said, there we have it. And then they give you these other kind of little options over here when you in PowerPoint, but I'm going to close that. Now if I said, hey, this top portion is pretty unspectacular, I don't really need that, we could go ahead and go over here, crop it, and say I don't want this. And we could do that, and then we could make this a little bit larger if we wanted to do so. We could also say, hey, this little icon here, not very helpful to us. We could go ahead and crop that out if we wanted. Crop that out. We might even say, hey, this title's not too impressive there. Why don't we just crop that out and make our own title, possibly. And we can even go so far as to say, go over here and say we would like to not have the white background on it. We can go to remove background. And just in order to get what we want here, we've got to go to mark keep, and I'm going to keep this item, keep that. I don't want it to make that go away. And there we have that. And then we got just a floating pie chart, and then we can add the key if we want. Screencast, add the key. And I know I'm doing this fairly quickly, but just to give you an idea of how to get this information into a presentation, there's the key. If we wanted to add the title, we can just make our own title in our own box if we want. Just say AP Graph. And then we can change the font of that, go to the Home tab, make some boldish font. I'm going to change the layout, make it, you know, I don't know, dark blue. And how about we make the text a bit larger? So we can, we could do something like that and just really get this information there. So the point is that this information, we can capture this information in multiple ways, using screencasting or using just copying and pasting the screen, clipping the screen, and manipulating it in a bunch of different ways. Really good information to have. And using that PDF printer option, really useful to use on this format and any type of software that doesn't give you the option to save as a PDF.